Hi everyone, I wanted to make a short video on the product rule, offer some visual intuition for it, and then go through the formal proof in the book. So the math explanation or definition for the product rule is that if you have a function f and g, if they're differentiable, then the derivative of their product f, we'll call it capital F, is f prime of x equals the derivative of the product f of x g of x, which is equal to f prime g plus g prime f. So the intuition that I want to offer for this is the area of a rectangle. So we know the area of the rectangle is length times width. So we have some original rectangle here, which we're going to call, we have length and then width, and then our area right here is length times width. So then let's increase the length a little bit, let's increase the width a little bit, and then let's get this new rectangle that we have from making our rectangle bigger. So we have something like this, where we could consider that first rectangle A1, and then our A2, which we can visually see what it is. It's got to share the original rectangle, and then it's got this new part, which we're calling increase in length, delta L, so we have delta L times W, and then we have our little change in width, we'll call delta W, then we have length times delta W. And then this little rectangle in the corner is going to be our delta L times delta W. So we get L times W plus W delta L plus L delta W plus delta W delta L. So then the difference of these two rectangles we'll call delta A is then A2 minus A1. So the part that they share is going to cancel out, and then we're going to be left with W delta L plus L delta W plus delta W delta L. So now we want to know what happens when delta L goes to 0 and what happens as delta W goes to 0. So we expect that the term that has the two deltas to be much smaller than the other. So we can imagine that our length, like 5 inches, feet, whatever units you want to use. Our width is 10, the same units, and our delta W is, let's say it's 1/10, and then our delta L is then 1/20th. So clearly, the product of those two delta terms is much smaller than L times delta W or W times delta L. So if those two changes of delta L and delta W both go to 0, we expect that this term here goes to 0. And you could plug in it a few times and then kind of plug in smaller and smaller numbers for delta W and delta L and see that this is the case. So we ultimately get, so this will give us then our infinitesimal, the tiny change in area, which is going to be composed of those two small rectangles we would add. So W times that tiny change in length plus length times that tiny change in width. So this should kind of look familiar to f prime, capital F prime equals little f prime g plus f g prime. So kind of is a similar format. You can imagine, like we have our W times dl, L times dw, and it looks similar to that. It's kind of the same question of wondering, as you change something and you have the product of two things that involve that variable, how does it change? So we can imagine our area as being a function of length and width, and if we changed the dimensions, what happens to our area? So both of those things are changing. That's kind of how we want to get that visual intuition, because we know we have this function f and function g. They both can change when we can change x. So here we have an area that depends on the length and width. So it's two things you can visualize how they change and then what the result is. And kind of the same idea going from a finite difference, the delta, to an infinitesimal difference. So it's that same kind of idea on what happens if h would go to 0. So now let's go through the formal limit definition and formal proof for the product rule. So we have big F equals the product of little f of x and the product of g of x. So we want to use the formal definition of the derivative to figure out the limit as h goes to 0 of big f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. So what we want to do now is let's substitute in what we know, how big F is defined. So then we get little f of x plus h times g of x plus h minus f of x times g of x all over h. So now we're going to add and subtract the same thing in the numerator. So I'm going to do h goes 0. I'm going to, one sec, let me write this out. I'm going to add f of x plus h times g of x minus f of x plus h g of x. Move it over so we have room. And then we have that last term. We had the minus f of x g of x. So what we can do now is we can simplify this a little bit further. So we can factor out an f of x plus h out of, let's use these two. So then we have an f of x plus h. So put this in brackets, and then we have in here, then we have g of x plus h minus g of x, all divided by h, and we'll separate the terms so we can look at them, like separate the fraction, or separate this fraction into two fractions. So then we also have these other terms. So we can factor out a g of x of this. So we factor out a g of x, and then we're left with f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. And this is starting to look very similar to what we know for the product rule. So we can use the sum and difference formulas for the limit, and we get limit as h goes to 0 of f of x plus h, and then it's times that g of x plus h minus g of x. That's all over h, and then plus the limit as h goes to 0 of g of x times that quantity we care about, or that quantity we have, so f of x plus h minus f of x over h. So we can separate this even further. So we can use the product of limits, because this right here is just g prime of x. We know it exists. We know f and g are differentiable, so they should be continuous. So we know that we could evaluate these limits. And then this right here, the limit of this part right here would just be f prime of x. So if we do that, we get the limit as h goes to 0 of f of x plus h times the limit as h goes to 0 of g of x plus h minus g of x all over h plus the limit as h goes to 0 of g of x times the limit as h goes to 0 of f of x plus h, f of x plus h, minus f of x all over h. And then we know what these limits are. We know that this is just the definition of the derivative of g of x. This is just the definition of the derivative of f of x. This, no h is in it, so we can simply plug the h in. Nowhere to plug it in, it's just a constant, so this is just g of x. This, as h goes to 0, we get f of x. Because we know f and g are continuous if they are differentiable. So then we get, ultimately, that f prime of x equals f of x, g prime of x, plus g of x, f prime of x. And that ends our proof right there. And that's all I have for this one. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.